we'll move on to our next story. A son is suing his Dubai-based parents for lifelong financial support. This is a 41-year-old who lives in the UK. He's suing his parents, like I said, for financial support. He's been living rent-free in London's Hyde Park for 20 years, and now he's claiming maintenance as a vulnerable grown-up child due to an undisclosed health issue. So this has been reported about a lot in the UK. He's basically a son. His parents have been looking after them as well as paying for the accommodation in London's Hyde Park. If you're from London, the UK, Hyde Park is a very pricey place to live. Let's say it's the downtown of London, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. As well as paying for that, his parents are also have been giving a £400 weekly allowance, and kind of paying for bills and everything on top of that. So he's been very much living under their protection, their shelter, their comfort for the last number of years. Now, because of a family issue, they want to pull away from that. And now he's suing them for lifelong financial support. It went to a family court, it was thrown out. So now it's going up to a court of appeal. We don't know the full sides of the story. So we don't, like I said, it's not a disclosed health issue, but also the parents are saying that the parents have a lot to say about his behavior over the last number of years. So they're fighting back. However, if it is accepted by the judge, it could change. It would be a game-changing law in terms of what parents are expected to do, based on their, like, in terms of financial support for their kids. So this is one that we'll be following very closely. It's happening in the UK, but it's Dubai-based parents who are looking after him.
That's so interesting. That is so interesting because I mean, I would assume after a certain age, your parents are not responsible for your payments, are not responsible for your funding and stuff. I think after 20, it should be you independent, getting a job, paying for your own bills, like
After 20.
after 20 years onwards, like after college. Once you get land your first job, it should be you independently paying for your own bills, and you shouldn't be so reliant on your parents. Like if you're choosing to live away from them or move out, then it should be you taking care of your own life, right?
100%.
You responsible for your own stuff.
For your own stuff. I think in terms of when you become an adult, that's when parents can just wave goodbye, right?
Yeah.
So it's when you're 18, parents can be like out the door. If your parents choose to help you going through college, fantastic. If they help you with education or whatever it might be, fantastic. But parents are not obligated to anything after the age of 18. This is why this story is so interesting, because it brings up the rights of people within their family and what's expected.
Yeah.
This is a 41-year-old. He's unemployed. He was an Oxford graduate. He's an Oxford graduate. He hasn't been working for a number of years. So it will be interesting to see how this plays out in the courts. Like I said, there is kind of the health aspect in there. So, and what he's expected from his parents. So we'll see it roll out, and we'll see what the courts make of it.
I don't want to speak on this story because we don't know enough, but some people have a lot of privilege and they just misuse it. So like this case, we're not like there, we don't have the full story, but there are definitely cases much similar to this where people just rely on their parents for full funding and just rely on them their whole lives and join their business and slack off. And it's just like, no, they don't take responsibility. So I think this would be a big lesson to a lot of families out there.
Yeah, well, it's such a tricky position for parents, because it's like you love your child, you love your son, your daughter, and then at what point does it get to the point where you worry about them because you want them to stand on their own 2 feet? And those lessons are so important to instill in your kids from an early age. But there's many lessons you could teach your kids, but obviously you're just trying to get through life, so it's hard. So, tricky.
You gotta make them leave the nest. Like goodbye. Throw them out. You know, like birds actually throw their chicks out the nest so they learn to fly themselves.
No.
Yeah, I think so. I've read it and I saw it in cartoons, so it must be true.